Well, the whole Grand Canyon thing is bananas. Like, there's areas of the Grand Canyon you cannot explore.
You cannot go.
The Grand Canyon, a vast chasm of natural wonder carved by time, has long been associated with ancient secrets and hidden histories. But few stories stir the imagination quite like the tale of Egyptian relics buried deep within its cliffs. Today we'll dive into the forbidden zones, shadowy histories, and controversial figures behind the mystery of ancient Egyptian relics supposedly found in a hidden Grand Canyon cave. The 1909 discovery that started it all.
When G.E. Kincaid tied off his small wooden boat to investigate the strange coloration of the rock wall, he was hoping to find clues that would lead him to a mineral deposit. He wasn't expecting to find hieroglyphics. When Kincaid noticed chisel marks in the walls, he drew his pistol, turned on another light, and slowly walked deeper into the gloom.
On April 5, 1909, the Arizona Gazette ran an article that ignited over a century of speculation and controversy. The headline promised astounding discoveries, explorations in the Grand Canyon, mysteries of immense rich cavern being brought to light. The piece described how an explorer named G.E. Kincaid, allegedly on a Smithsonian-funded expedition, stumbled upon a hidden cave deep in the canyon. Inside, he found what appeared to be an ancient underground city, complete with statues, hieroglyphs, copper tools, and even mummified remains. He was later joined by a mysterious figure named Professor S.A. Jordan, and together they supposedly uncovered artifacts that suggested a cultural link between Egypt and the American Southwest. The article described an elaborate network of man-made tunnels and chambers carved into the cliffside, some as high as 2,000 feet above the Colorado River. Kincaid claimed to have found statues resembling Buddha, a 700-foot-long dining hall, golden urns, inscribed tablets, and chambers said to have housed up to 50,000 people. It read like a fantastical adventure tale, full of detail and mystery, ripe for myth-making. Yet something felt off. The article's author was anonymous. No other publication ever followed up on the discovery. And despite the grandeur of the claim, the Smithsonian quickly denied any knowledge of Kincaid or Professor Jordan. More than 100 years later, there's still no official record of either man ever working with the institution. This silence, some argue, is exactly what a cover-up would look like. But the Gazette was also known for its sensationalist, tabloid-style journalism. Many historians regard the article as yellow journalism, designed more to sell papers than inform. Still, despite efforts to debunk it, the legend has persisted. The cover-up claims and forbidden zone.
Why are all the landforms in the Grand Canyon itself, which, by the way, is 90% off limits, even to the Native Americans, 90% of the Grand Canyon you're not allowed to go to, and there's a reason for that, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
But they have names that are absolutely unique to Egypt, and there's no indication that any contemporary cavalryman or anybody that was an explorer brought that concept, because the Native Americans themselves, especially the Pueblo people, they have a long history of the Star people, aliens, and they also have a long history of the foreigners who came. So in the forbidden history revealed for the first time in history, and this is what people have got to understand, the cover-up and cover-over has taken place in the Catholic Church and antiquities. I'm not bashing Catholics. I'm just saying that it was a real thing.
Over the decades, whispers of a cover-up have only intensified. The National Park Service and Smithsonian Institution have both gone on record to discredit the story, yet their repeated denials have only fueled suspicions. Critics point to the vague language and inconsistencies in public statements as proof that something is being hidden. Quote, "We haven't heard of that urban legend," a Smithsonian representative said in a response to an inquiry. "Unfortunately, we do not have anyone that can speak on this." Not exactly a definitive rejection. One of the most intriguing claims centers around a so-called forbidden zone within the Grand Canyon. According to official national park documents, several areas are indeed off-limits to the public. These include sections around the Hopi salt mines and the area from River Mile 62 to 62.5, suspiciously close to the very region where Kincaid claimed to have made his discovery. Entry into any of the park's caves is prohibited without a permit, and such permits are never granted for that zone. Some researchers argue that the landmark names themselves provide clues. Geological features in the area include Isis Temple, Osiris Temple, Tower of Ra, and the Cheops Pyramid, all names lifted from Egyptian and Hindu mythology. Curiously, the man believed to have named these formations, John Wesley Powell, was not only a famed explorer, but also a former director of the Smithsonian's Bureau of Ethnology. Coincidence or subtle nod to hidden truths? Further raising eyebrows is the 1987 legislation restricting aircraft over the Grand Canyon, something shared by only 2 other national parks, both known for ancient mysteries and vast, unexplored cave systems. Officially, the law protects public safety and natural quiet. Unofficially, some say it helps maintain secrecy over what lies beneath. The Smithsonian's shadowy connections.
I don't trust the Smithsonian. They're exempt from all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, like there's a law passed not too long ago that if you have Native American artifacts that are important to that culture, especially burial artifacts, they must be returned. Unless you're the Smithsonian, then
They're allowed to hold on to
then
them?
you can make a case that you don't have to give it back.
Adding more fuel to the fire is the sketchy history of Professor S.A. Jordan, the man said to have joined Kincaid in exploring the cave. The Smithsonian insists no such person was ever affiliated with the institution. But historian sleuths have pointed to one possible candidate, Professor David Starr Jordan. He was a leading figure at Stanford University and served closely with the Smithsonian from the 1880s to 1910. David Starr Jordan's past is controversial. He was a fervent proponent of eugenics, writing essays that promoted racial purity and state-led sterilization programs. His name has since been stripped from numerous public buildings, and in 2003, the California legislature expressed profound regret over his role in the movement. If this was the same Jordan from the Gazette article, it would certainly explain why the Smithsonian would want to distance themselves from him. Yet, despite these efforts at erasure, a photo of Jordan remains in the Smithsonian archives, and while no official record ties him directly to the Grand Canyon expedition, his involvement with ichthyological surveys in the area during the same period adds a layer of plausibility. For believers, this shadowy figure represents the institutional rot at the heart of the cover-up, an example of how those entrusted with preserving history may instead have distorted it. Alternative researchers continue to insist the Smithsonian has actively destroyed or hidden artifacts that don't fit into the accepted narrative of American history. While no smoking gun has surfaced, the persistence of this claim underscores how mistrust in institutions often fuels legends far longer than facts ever could. Strange structures and the mystery of the Anasazi.
It's like you're piecing things together based on artifacts and historical record, things that people wrote down, and journals and logs. And
there's people that have traveled. So, again, I've studied this so long ago, but I remember reading primary source from somebody that traveled with Cristobal Colon, a.k.a. Christopher Columbus. And he was saying very specific things about his accounts when he reached these different places. You know, and he was saying things like, we got to the land and we found Africans. And I remember him specifically saying, so no matter where we go, we find Africans.
So if you're looking at these structures and you're like, okay, clearly it's a building, but, for what? Did people live in them? They're so small. We call these granaries. And it's kind of a catch-all term that's basically, think of it as a storage unit. But these little storage units didn't only store grain like corn. There's been evidence of, them storing like pinon nuts and oyas full of water and, pottery. And basically just think about it as like anything needed for survival.
Outside of the Egyptian claims, the Grand Canyon is already a treasure trove of historical anomalies. In particular, the Anasazi people, whose name translates to ancient enemies, left behind structures that have puzzled archaeologists for decades. These include intricate stone dwellings, solar-aligned towers, and subterranean ceremonial chambers known as kivas. Their sudden disappearance before European contact has sparked endless speculation. Sites like Mesa Verde, Chaco Canyon, and Canyons of the Ancients hint at an advanced society with astronomical knowledge and mysterious rituals. Some native oral traditions even speak of a culturally distinct, cannibalistic people who were eventually driven out or absorbed into other tribes. While mainstream scholars attribute the Anasazi's departure to climate change or intertribal conflict, others see the fingerprints of a deeper mystery. One of the most intriguing sites is Mummy Cave in Canyon de Chelly, not far from the Grand Canyon. The structure's scale is staggering, and some reports describe chambers large enough to house tens of thousands of people. In an adjacent cave, human remains, including infants, were found buried in a large basket. The bizarre nature of these discoveries adds weight to theories that the Southwest was once home to civilizations more complex and more enigmatic than we're led to believe. Then there's Stanton's Cave, located close to the Forbidden Zone. Once thought to be man-made, the cave is now sealed off and declared a bat habitat by the National Park Service. But its vaulted ceilings and precise masonry suggest human craftsmanship. In 1969 to 1970, artifacts were removed from the site in an official dig, but few details about what was found have been made public. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think the ancient Egyptian relics story is an elaborate hoax, or is there enough buried evidence to warrant another look? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.